They figured I was just some grizzled farmer, standing in a field with a handful of cows, clueless about the law. Big mistake. When their shiny SUVs rode onto my property, brandishing fake documents and barking about seizing my land for code violations, I nearly laughed, not out of humor, but because they just stepped into a fight they couldn't win. I'd survived 3 tours in the Middle East, reading threats faster than most. This time, the battlefield was my 60-acre spread in the rolling hills outside Boise, Idaho. My army? 30 Angus cattle, trained to respond like a tactical unit. Before I dive into what happened, have you ever dealt with scam artists this bold? Let me know in the comments and where you're reading from. I'll check everyone. My name's Jack Harlan, and this ranch has been my refuge for a decade, ever since I left the army with a silver star and a deep need for solitude. After 12 years in Iraq and Syria, I craved open land where no one could ambush me. The ranch gave me that hard work, quiet dawns, and 30 Angus I trained with methods I picked up in some rough corners of the world. My wife, Emma, got it. She'd been a field medic in the army, so she understood the need for routine and staying sharp. It was a crisp October morning in 2024 when trouble came knocking. I was fixing a fence in the east pasture when I heard engines roaring closer. 2 sleek SUVs barreled down my dirt drive, ignoring the gate. My instincts kicked in. Unannounced visitors in coordinated vehicles spelled danger. I dropped my tools and strode toward them, hands loose but ready, eyes narrowing like they did in combat. 4 people spilled out, and I knew right away something was off. The leader, a woman with a tight bun and a tailored suit, clutched a clipboard like it was a badge of power. Her name was Lauren Pierce, and she moved with a practiced swagger that screamed overcompensation. Behind her loomed a guy in a cheap security uniform, badge glinting wrong in the sunlight. His name tag read, Vince Holt, Compliance Officer. 2 others hung back, one snapping photos of my land with a fancy camera, the other tapping on a phone. "Good morning, Mr. Harlan," Lauren said, her voice dripping with fake authority. "I'm with Northwest Property Standards. We're here for a mandatory inspection due to reported violations." She glanced at my security camera, her eyes lingering just long enough to betray her nerves. "Violations." I kept my tone even, the kind I used to diffuse tense situations overseas. "Funny, since this land isn't under any HOA." Lauren's smile twitched, but she pressed on, claiming my property fell under a Clearwater Oversight Board established in 2020. Vince stepped up, pointing at my cattle with a dramatic flourish. "Unauthorized livestock, substandard fencing, non-compliant structures," he barked, pretending to type on a tablet he wasn't even touching. Emma watched from the kitchen window, already cataloging their tales. She could read stress like a book. I asked for ID and proof of their board's authority. That's when Lauren's grip tightened on our clipboard, and Vince shifted like he was bracing for a brawl. The photographer fidgeted, and the phone guy avoided eye contact. Lauren shoved the document at me. Fancy letterhead, legal jargon, a shiny seal. But I spotted issues, a PO box address, an unreadable signature, a blurry logo. "I look into this," I said, pocketing it, my voice calm but edged with the tone that used to make hostiles rethink their choices. They retreated to their SUVs, but I felt their eyes on me. That night, I called my old army buddy, Nate Carver, now a lawyer. "Jack, this is a scam," he said after I laid it out. "No Clearwater board exists. These guys are con artists." Relief hit, then rage. They weren't just targeting me, they were preying on folks who didn't know better. Nate dug deeper. The Northwest Property Standards website was 3 weeks old, full of stock images and vague promises. Lauren had been sacked from a real estate firm for forging contracts. Vince had a rap sheet for bar fights and failed security gigs. Emma, analyzing the encounter, noted Lauren's microexpressions, classic liar's tales, and Vince's deference to her, signaling he wasn't the brains. Around midnight, I caught a flashlight beam near my barn. It was Vince, sneaking around, photographing my gear and house. I lit him up with my own beam. "Evening, Vince," I said, casual but cold. "Lost something." He stammered about a follow-up inspection, hands shaking, then bolted to a truck parked down the road. The next morning, I found a GPS tracker hidden near my gate, still blinking. Emma's face paled. Jack, they know when I head to the clinic, when you're alone. Security footage showed cars slowing by our drive, someone checking our mailbox, even photos of Emma's car at work. This wasn't harassment, it was reconnaissance. At 1 a.m., Lauren called, her polish gone, voice raw. Mr. Harlan, you're making this harder than it needs to be. We have authority to seize your land. Keep fighting, and it'll get worse for you and Emma. Mentioning my wife sent fury through me, but I stayed cool. Here's some advice, Lauren. You picked the wrong family. Back off. My neighbor, Tom, stopped by, worried. That woman was at the feed store, asking about your schedule, your past. She's targeting you, Jack. 3 days later, they returned with a convoy, 2 SUVs and a tricked-out van with official-looking decals. Lauren led, flanked by Vince and 2 new faces, Monica Tate, claiming to be a board director, and a nervous kid, Ethan Cole, who muttered about being a paralegal. Lauren waved a thick folder, former seizure orders, brimming with stamps and ribbons. Monica played good cop, offering a settlement to avoid legal fees. Ethan, hands trembling, said I owed $35,000, $10,000 for cattle, $15,000 for structural issues, $10,000 in fees. I took the folder, saying I'd review it with my lawyer. Vince bristled, but Lauren offered a discount if I paid $28,000 now, confirming it was all about cash. Emma, pretending to hang laundry, recorded everything from the porch. The documents were garbage, fake citations, non-existent case numbers, sloppy typos. Then my bank called, a lien had been filed, freezing my accounts. These weren't amateurs, they had pull in the system. That evening, Emma got a call at the clinic, someone claiming she was aiding a fugitive. It was fake, but the intent was clear: isolate us, break us. I stared at my angers that night, grazing under the stars, and felt a familiar resolve. They'd crossed the line. Tomorrow, I'd fight back. I met Nate and Sheriff Dan Walsh at a Boise diner. They confirmed 9 other victims, all veterans, scammed out of $250,000. Monica wasn't a victimized homeowner, she'd been ousted from an HOA for theft and threats. Ethan was a broke grad student, roped in by shady job ads. The scammers targeted veterans with rural land and VA benefits, exploiting PTSD fears. Lauren screwed up the ante, setting up a surveillance post at my drive, sending fake notices to neighbors, and calling Emma's clinic again. I slipped up at the store, yelling at Vince when he slandered me as a dangerous vet. He recorded it, and a fake DA call followed, threatening charges. But Ethan called late, whispering, "They are planning a fake arrest tomorrow, fake feds, warrants, all of it. They want you in cuffs to break you." He hung up, terrified. I looked at my angers, each 1,000 pounds of muscle and horn, trained to my whistle. They were ready. At dawn, I loosened gate latches for quick access. By 9 a.m., 4 vehicles rolled in, including 2 SUVs with light bars. Lauren, in a fake Fed jacket, led 4 men in tactical gear, including Vince. "Jack Harlan, you're under arrest for obstruction and threatening officers," she shouted. I demanded real warrants. Lauren babbled nonsense. Vince reached for a taser. I pulled my whistle, a relic from Syria, and blew one long blast. For a moment, nothing. Then a rumble grew, 30 angers charging, horns low, instincts fierce. The scammers' operation collapsed. Vince screamed, climbing an SUV's roof. Lauren, trapped in a vehicle, yelled useless orders. The others fled, dropping gear. My cattle punctured tires, dented metal, and pinned the convoy like a SWAT team. Sheriff Walsh arrived, grinning. "Jack, call off your army." 2 whistle blasts, and the angers lined up, disciplined. The sheriff arrested the crew, Eaton turning state's witness. Their scam spanned 4 states, fleecing veterans for $500,000. Monica's real motive was vengeance against communities. A crooked lawyer in Nevada fed them targets. The story exploded online. My Cattle Justice Ranch, a symbol of resistance. Victims, like 80-year-old Mrs. Ellis, who lost $15,000, and the Lopez family, who sold their car, joined a $5 million class action suit. Lauren got 20 years, Vince 14, Monica probation and therapy. The lawyer faced life for racketeering. I bought the scammers' SUVs at auction for $500 each, turning them into cattle troughs, a daily reminder of justice. My ranch became a tourist spot, funding a veteran defense fund and tougher anti-fraud laws. 2 years later, in October 2026, my angers graze peacefully, Emma saves lives, and our story inspires. Justice isn't always a badge, sometimes it's 1,000 pounds of horn fury. What would you have done against these scammers? Should I have confronted them sooner or let the law handle it? Could veterans be better protected from these predators? Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and let's keep this fight alive.